it's old news, but then again, it's new. So
talking about the North?
Oh yeah, talking about the North. So it's been reported recently from Mike Scotto that from Who's Hype that the Hawks are still monitoring Pascal Siakam. Now, we've had Rashad Milligan, shout out to Rashad. We had him on the show, and we asked him on his take on if the Hawks should trade for Pascal Siakam, and he was an advocate that, yeah, they should. They should roll the dice and gamble and take the risk. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm starting to lean towards that as well. The only thing that I've just been iffy about is the fact that if he makes the All-NBA team, then you're looking at a contract around $300 million or close to that. Now, we all know this team eventually they're going to have to do it. If we're going to contend for a championship, Tony Ressler, he's going to have to start writing out some paychecks. And right now, he hasn't really been showing that he's willing to do that. And for the record, I don't think the Hawks are a championship caliber franchise as of right now. But like I said, at some point when they get to that point where, yeah, they feel like we can compete for a championship, he's going to have to write out more paychecks. But regarding to Pascal Siakam, I think the way that this team is playing with the motion offense and how we do things, I think Pascal Siakam fits in nicely with this system. And he's a very good defender. He can pretty much guard every position, and he is so fluid offensively. And just imagine if you could think of a lineup with Trey and DJ in the backcourt, and then possibly Jalen Johnson could play at the 3, maybe, and then Pascal at the 4, and then Okongwu at the 5. I don't see Clint Capella being here too much longer, but with Pascal being here, I don't think it'll make us a championship caliber franchise, but it will certainly move the needle. And again, this team needs more help on the defensive end, especially on the perimeter defense. And I said this before, that the offense doesn't need any fixing. The offense doesn't need any fixing. I mean, if you're able to make it better, then sure, by all means, but we have a top 5, top 6 defense. So it's the defense that's been giving us issues. And if our defense was average as of right now, we'd probably be a top 4 seeded team or top 5 right about now. But yeah, so, and the Raptors, they're a bad team. And I think I call baloney. I don't think that I think they want to go into a rebuild at some point in time. I don't see how you're going to keep this along, because to my understanding, I think OG Anunoby, I think he's pending free agency as an unrestricted free agent. And then when you look at this past offseason, Fred VanVleet, they let him walk away for nothing. And again, they're a bad team and they're not going to do anything. So there's no point of going through this. And at some point in time, they would have to hit the reset button. And I think the Hawks, they should, call the North again and revisit those conversations of Pascal Siakam trade.
That's the thing. I don't think they want to go into a rebuild, though. I think if they're gonna get in a rebuild,
I call baloney.
You're gonna have to drag them kicking and screaming into a rebuild. But
Pascal's going to force them to.
Hey, Pascal Siakam, though, I'm still on the fence with it, but it's hard not to look at the Hawks giving up 128 points to one of the worst offenses in the league on Thursday and think, man, we really don't need any more help defensively, because right now that's just really the big sore on this team. And it's like we have to score 120 if we need any chance to win the game. Like literally all the losses we've had, we didn't score 120. And so when you have something like that, man, you might just have to bite the bullet on Siakam, and you could just keep waiting for the perfect trade, the perfect scenario. But the chances of that happening may be slim. Anthony Edwards isn't going to be put on the trade block anytime soon. Jaylen Brown's not getting put on the trading block anytime soon. Kawhi Leonard's not getting put on the trading block anytime soon. So Pascal Siakam may just be your best. Pascal Siakam may just be the best bet you have for improving your team and improving your perimeter defense. And it may just be one of those cases where, hey, if Pascal wants that $300 million, it may not be ideal, But,
I mean, the Boston Celtics, they gave Jaylen Brown a $300 million contract. I don't think he's worth it. But I mean, you have to spend money if you're trying to win a championship. So the money can't really be an issue. And I'm not going to lie, that's starting to become an issue for me, because now for this season, we don't know what they're going to do in regards to with the roster, the way it is constructed. But I just don't think the Hawks, they can go into another offseason and not really do anything. I give this past offseason a pass because I get it. You're trying to implement your system, meaning Quinn Snyder and the new culture and all that, in which I do understand that. So I'm not really expecting them to blow the roster up where they make all these changes. You want to have your core guys to have that chemistry and build upon that throughout the season. But more news is that some rival executives, they believe Capella could be used as a trade chip again before the February trade deadline. I believe that will be February 8th, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then also Patty Mills, and I'm pretty sure I think Patty Mills is going to be traded, to be honest with you, because he hasn't really played at all. He did play one time against the Wizards.
Literally one game.
Yeah, one game. Right now, he's on an expiring contract of $6.8 million. And so you have to keep that in mind as a trade chip that could also be included to match salary. So, but yeah, I think, and again, when you put all the pieces together with the Patty Mills, and his contract and Capella, I think the Hawks, they could pounce again. And I think it could be for real that we could get Siakam, because to me, I just don't think the Raptors there are willing to say, no, we don't want to go into a rebuild. We want to ride this out. I just don't see the logic behind it at all. So I think a rebuild is going to force their hand, and I think the Raptors, they're going to take the best deal that they can get. So
I got one question for you though. How do you think Siakam and Jalen Johnson would be playing next to each other at both of those forward spots?
I always say that, and I always say this here: the more versatility that you have, the better that you're going to be. Now, it all depends on, and Quinn, he's a very smart guy, especially offensively, so he knows what works and what can be fixed. But, I mean, both guys, they have the ability to handle the ball. Both guys have the ability to guard multiple positions. So, I don't see it as a logjam where you don't have guys that can really fit. When you look at, for example, when we had John Collins and Clint Capella, it was more of a logjam because of the fact that John couldn't really shoot the ball. I mean, he's doing that now in Utah, but he wasn't able to really do that at least last year against Atlanta. So
they both
have guys
in the paint, right?
Right. They're clobbing the paint. So you have guys that can stretch the floor. So that's why I say Pascal and Jalen, I can see it work. Now, I think Pascal moves a little bit quicker than Jalen. So it may be ideal where you put Pascal at the 3 and leave Jalen at the 4, or it could be reversed. But like you say, with the paint being clogged with not with Jalen, but with John and Clint last year, it just made things a lot worse. And like I said, both guys, Jalen and Pascal, they can both shoot the 3. So I don't think spreading the floor and worrying about the paint being clogged would be an issue. And you hear Quinn Snyder oftentimes saying, hey, when you have too many bodies down in the paint, it's just hard to score. So if you have both those guys on the floor, and Clint, if he still remains to be here, I don't think it would be an issue. But
I think he would probably be the one getting traded. And
I think he would. But hypothetically, if he doesn't and still remains here, I don't think it would be an issue.
But Quinn's gonna tell him to get the threes up. So he wants 50 threes a night.
Yeah, he always wants those threes up, and I do agree with that. So it definitely wouldn't be an issue. But hopefully that we'll be able to make a move. And as I said, the Hawks, they just can't go another year of not making a move. So I anticipate by trade deadline or next offseason that we'll be able to make a move to help us get to where we want to be. But so we'll keep an eye on that, and if anything comes up, we'll give you guys an update.